Welcome to part 4 of our Photoshop video lesson on sharing our shots. Now we've shared them in a variety of simple ways by uploading them to Facebook with the face tags there, sharing video clips to YouTube, and even just emailing things to family and friends. But if you want to impress people with your photographs in a much more attractive way, then you can share them in a variety of different ways by using the Create tab. So let's click here and have a look at some of the options that we've got to play with. Well, for starters, you can actually personalize a greeting card by selecting a photograph and clicking here, and then you can choose templates to actually set up your own personalized greeting card or photo calendar for that matter. But we're going to go and do something a bit more ambitious. We're going to create a whole photo book by clicking on this option here, and that will allow us to pop our photographs into a variety of different theme templates and create more attractive printouts. So the first thing we need to do is to decide which photographs are going to appear in our photo book, and we can do that by clicking and then scrolling down and shift clicking to select them all, or just shift clicking on individual shots until you've got the ones you want to use, and then you're ready to click on photo book. You can also add photographs manually, but by shift clicking to select them, you can get them to automatically be added to the pages of the photo book, and that'll just save you a bit of time. So let's click here, and up pops the standard Photoshop Elements editor, and we will then be able to start to organize our photographs using a variety of different book templates. And here is your photo book window, in which you can choose the size of the pages from this size here to a more square ratio by changing it to 300 by 300 millimeters. But I'm going to stick to the original size because that's more conventional for a photo book ratio. And here you have a variety of themes, and we'll scroll down those in a second. But to preview a theme like celebration, all you do is just click, and then you can just sit back and watch these pages turn, and you can see the photographs are going to be framed in specific ways to suit the theme. There's also little ornaments as well, and if I move over the shot at the corner here, it will actually then curl back, and we can then have a look at a previous page. So that gives you an idea of the type of thing you're going to get with that particular theme. Let's click back here to go back to the main page, and because these are travel photographs, I'm going to scroll down and choose something a little bit more appropriate. But you can see there's loads of different themes, some a little bit more cheesy than others, but tripped is quite good because it gives you a variety of postcardy type things. There's some stamps there, and it just suits the travel theme. And again, just move over here to go back to the previous page if you like, and get a better idea of what each page is going to look like. Talking of pages, you can type in the number of the pages you want to print out. If you've got lots of photographs, you'll need more pages. I'm going to go for 4, and I'm going to tick autofill with selected images just to speed things up and pop my photographs into this templates without having to drag and drop or import them manually. So we've made our size selection, we've chosen our theme, and we're now ready to autofill with selected images onto 4 pages by clicking OK. And the cool thing is this saves you loads of time because it's importing all of those photographs, it's rotating and scaling and placing them on separate layers, it's adding borders to them as well, and it's generating all of the layout in a much quicker time than you would do if you were doing it manually by just copying and pasting and scaling into Photoshop. And you'll see here we've got all of these pages, the title page, and we have the 4 pages that we asked to be created as well, and we can have a closer look at those by double clicking, and you can see here that this is a layout of 2 and 3, but you could change the layout by going to here, and you could then choose different layouts from the top. We might want to actually have 3 photographs in both pages. Let's go maybe to this layout here, double click, and it will then change everything on this spread. You can't just do individual pages, you have to do that particular spread, and we need to add another photograph from our library to fill that blank space. I'm going to go back to pages for the moment, and I'm just going to show you how to fine-tune the composition of a photograph within one of the frames that's been created. So it's just placed the photograph within this stamp picture frame, so we need to double click inside to get this control up, and then we can click and drag to the left to scale things down, and you can see the transform bounding box around the edge there to show us the edge of the frame. You can then drag up or down to create a more aesthetically framed image within our postage stamp border. When you're happy with that, just click the tick to apply the change, and you can always double click and fine tune things if you need to. And you can see there's a little icon here. If I move over it, you can click and rotate to slide the whole stamp around as well, and then drag within it to reposition it on the frame like so. And you can do that with the other images as well, so they're overlaid on top of each other on this much more complex layout on pages 1 and 2. So what we can do, I have to click the tick of course to apply that transformation of the entire frame. Then I can move on to this spread here, double click to select it, and it's really important to tick auto select layer so you can select individual photographs, click on them and drag them around and reposition them just like you would with real photographs laid out in a real album. For example, here this shot is being lost in the background there, so what I'm going to do is just bring that down a little bit, and in fact I can slide this onto this page here just to create a bit more balance. There we go. In fact, if I double click in here, I can always try and scale this one down a little bit more so we can see what the girls are actually looking at. And again, click the tick to apply the change. So it's fairly easy to organize your shots the way you like, and I'm going to just change the text on the front page as well by double clicking and going to the text field here, and that enables me to choose a variety of different styles and fonts, etc. And of course you can just click here and edit the text. So I'm just going to call this one, let me just use normal word processing skills just to type in something more appropriate. Turkish delights, a little bit cheesy, but it'll suit the photographs. And then hit return to apply the change on that option there, or click the tick at the top here, and you can then edit the lower text field by clicking further down and then just clicking and dragging and typing the name of the city perhaps. Let's go for Istanbul 2011. Click the tick, and there's our modified text. I can change that in lots of different ways up here, including warping it. Let's pop back to pages again. Let's double click on this last page here because it's a little bit cheesy, that graphic there. So I want to change the artwork to something a bit less naff, but we'll get some theme backgrounds there. And indeed, let's go for a nice North American map. That's not very appropriate for Turkey though, so maybe I should go for something a little bit more European, like this one here, and that will include Turkey in the shot as well. If you do have any blank shots like this, you can always click and load up files from any particular folder on your computer. I'm just going to click and choose one like so and place it in there, even though we've probably already got that in another part of the shot. Yeah, there it is indeed. I could always double click and create a bit of a close-up there just to add a bit of variety. Click the tick to apply the change. So that's pretty much how the photo books works. When you're happy with the layouts and the pages, you can then click print and print them out on your local printer. You can switch to advanced mode, and that will enable you to see the actual layers that are being used to create all of these frames, borders and graphics. But to be honest, you probably don't need to do that because you can do everything you need to do in the basic mode, like so. So that's the end of part 4, and you can close and save your photo book and reprint it later in the future. In part 5, we're going to look at ways to create slideshows from your stills and produce things with animated camera moves like a rostrum camera to make your photographs look more interesting. You can then save it as a movie and then even upload it back up to YouTube if you like.